Hello viewers, welcome to brand new episode of Campus Eye. I'm Sathvik and let's have a look at this week's Campus Eye. Sometimes a necessity can turn into opportunity for flourishing tourism. Hanging Bridge in Kemannu is one such story. Let's see how the repeated renovation and development of this bridge change the look of this landmark.
Hanging Bridge in Kemannu is a major landmark and tourist attraction in the region. The bridge was believed to be built in 16th century and since then have undergone several renovations and repairs. But in 2016, the local government decided to undertake major renovation project for the bridge in order to ensure the safety of the pedestrians using the bridge. The old bridge structure was demolished and a new foundation was laid. The pillars were strengthened with concrete and metal reinforcements. The suspension cables were replaced with high tensile steel. Hanging Bridge is a landmark known for its shaky path experience while providing a remarkable view of the Suvarna River, especially during the sunset. But the installments of the kayaking operations has increased the tourism rapidly and has totally changed the face of Hanging Bridge.
ಸುಮಾರು ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಹಿಂದಿನಿಂದ ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಕುದುರೆಗಳ ಒಂದು ಹಳ್ಳಿ ಪ್ರದೇಶವಾಗಿದೆ. ಕುದುರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಸುತ್ತಲೂ ನೀರಿರುವ ಜಾಗ. ಹಾಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕುದುರೆನಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕುದುರೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಸೇತುವೆಯ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಹಲವಾರು ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ದೋಣಿಯನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಕುದುರೆನಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕುದುರೆಗೆ ಬರಲು ಜನರು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿದ್ದರು. 1990ರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹ್ಯಾಂಗಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ರಿಡ್ಜ್ ಅಂತ ಸುರತ್ಕಲ್ನಿಂದ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ವಿಭಾಗದ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಬಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹ್ಯಾಂಗಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ರಿಡ್ಜ್ ಅಂತ ನಿರ್ಮಿಸಿದರು. ಹಾಗೆ ಆ ಹ್ಯಾಂಗಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ರಿಡ್ಜಿಂದ ಜನರು ನಮ್ಮ ತಿಮ್ಮಣ್ಣ ಕುದುರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಕುದುರಿನ ಹೆಸರು ತಿಮ್ಮಣ್ಣ ಕುದುರು ಮತ್ತು ಪಡುಕುದುರು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು ಜೋಡಣೆಯಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಹಾಗೆ ಜನರು ಇದನ್ನು ನಡೆಯಲು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ತಿದ್ರು. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, ವಾಹನಗಳನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೂ ದ್ವಿಚಕ್ರ ವಾಹನಗಳನ್ನು ಕೆಲವರು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಇದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಾಳಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಅದನ್ನು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ರಿಪೇರಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಇದನ್ನು ಜನರಿಗೆ ಬಳಕೆ ಮಾಡಲು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದರು. ಈಗ ಜನರ ತುಂಬ ಊರುಗಳಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಏಕೆಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿದತ್ತವಾದ ಈ ನೀರಿನ ಸೊಬಗನ್ನು ನೋಡಲು ಹಾಗೂ ತುಂಬ ದೋಣಿಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ ದೋಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಸಂಚಾರವನ್ನು ಕೊಡುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಜನರು ರಾತ್ರಿ ನಿಂತು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪ್ರವಾಸಿ ತಾಣವನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಜನರು ಈ ಸ್ಥಳಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹೀಗೆ ದೋಣಿ ವಿಹಾರ ಇರುವುದರಿಂದ ಹಾಗೂ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಿಲ್ಲಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಇರುವುದರಿಂದ ಪರವೂರಿನಿಂದ ಜನರು ಬಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಸಮಯವನ್ನು ಸಂತೋಷದಿಂದ ಕಳೆಯುತ್ತಾರೆ.
Kayaking and boating operations are found in both sides of the bridge, which enhanced tourism since 2020. There are about 4 kayak operators giving tourists a fun experience of water sports. Kayaking in Kemanu is as cheap as 50 rupees per head for an half-hour experience in the arms of the Suvarna River. The once silent and peaceful bridge is now a hub of hustling businesses and crowded adventurers. A piece of land was cleared and private parking spaces is created for the tourist. Many shacks were built and street vendors set up businesses and sell snacks and beverages and alcoholic palm wine or toddy that is enjoyed by the adventurers for refreshments. The tourism in Hanging Bridge thus plays a pivotal role in improving the lives of these vendors. During the wedding season, many couples choose the bridge for its fascinating scenery for photo shoots. It is also a pickup point for many resorts around the village. To support the hanging bridge, the local government established a concrete bridge for daily transportation of two-wheelers and other heavy vehicles. The concrete bridge also gives beautiful glimpse of the hanging bridge itself. The 280 feet long suspension bridge, which was primarily a necessary connection between the islands Timanukudru and Padukudru, has evolved into tourist attraction and thereby helping the economic and tourism of the Kemannu village. Jimson with camera person Shifali for Team Campus Eye.
A poet's verse can transport you to distant realms and touch the deepest corners of your soul. Today we have one such personality with a unique blend of creativity, passion and raw talent. Let's find more about her in this interview. Over to Fairooz.
Hello viewers, I am Fairooz and today we have a special guest, Devishree, who is a young talented writer. She is currently pursuing her Masters in English at St. Aloysius College, Mangaluru. She has published her own book at such a young age titled Playlist, which is a collection of poems, and also posts regularly poetry on her Instagram. Welcome, Digi.
Hi.
We are extremely excited to have you with us today and share your experience with all of us. So, Digi, you have been writing since childhood. So, could you please tell us how did your love for words begin?
Okay, to speak about that, we'll have to go way back to my 7th grade. Like even before, I used to read a lot of books. But then apart from reading, I was never into writing. Like I never thought I could write. I'm not saying I'm like a great writer or anything, but then I think it all started in 7th grade. 7th grade, like my usual behavior is I get bored very fast. And my father has to somehow find something for me to do or I'll make a huge ruckus at home. So one day he sat me down, he gave me like a random topic and he said like, just write something, Dizzy, try. And I was like, okay, fine. And then I kind of thought about it for a while and I was like, what am I supposed to do? And then I don't know, out of the blue, I just randomly wrote something. It was very kiddish, definitely for 7th grader. And I think that's how I wrote the first poem, Awaiting. Like I never gave the title or anything then. But then I randomly wrote it and then I showed it to my father and he was like, this is good, no, Dizzy. You can keep trying. And that's where it all began.
Publishing your own book even before graduating is such a huge achievement. So, could you please share how did this journey unfold?
Okay, so the publishing part, what happened was, to be honest, I was never into publishing my poems. I'm someone who keep it to myself. I write, I keep it to myself. Like even most poems, I've never really shown even to my parents. Not because I can't, but then I just randomly write it. I never found the need to show it to them. So the publishing part is quite an interesting story. What happened was, my father and my mother, both of them, whenever I write a poem and if I have ever shown it to them, they know I'm very careless. I'll just keep it somewhere, I'll lose it at some point. So they started collecting it. They'll collect it and keep it in secret, and I never knew. So one day, that is back in degree last year, my father, he came to me and he's like, how about we publish your poems? I'm like, that's not possible. I haven't kept all the poems with me. I have very few with me right now. He's like, no, but we have collected it. And I'm like, a few of them are kiddish, no. But he's like, it's okay. It's part of your achievement, no. So all that I collected, I mean, they collected up until then. And the ones I wrote afterwards, all of them we together published it. That's how the whole process happened. It was not really my initiative, it was my father's.
So, how did the title playlist come up? Is there a particular reason, or you just randomly came up with this idea?
Okay, so once the publishing idea part was done, and it was, up till a point when it became obvious that, okay, we are publishing the book, I never gave the title. Because to be honest, giving a title was quite a task because it's a mixed genre of poems. I haven't stuck to any specific kind. So with that in mind, I kind of took almost a week to come up with it, right? Because I'll come with something, then I won't be satisfied. But at some point, the word playlist just came to my mind. I think I was listening to music then. So the thing is that my concept is like this. Most of us have, a mixed genre in our playlist. Like be it Spotify, everything is mixed. All the music, there's romance, there's other kind of songs, there's everything. So I felt I could relate to that because all of my poems were a very mixed genre. It was just like my playlist in Spotify. So I thought, why not go for playlist, because it's poems, mixed genres, just like me. So that's how the title playlist came about.
It was completely apt to be.
Yes, exactly.
You write about romance, self discovery, friendship, etc. So, of all these genres, which one do you enjoy writing the most?
Okay, that is quite a tough question because, uh, see, as I mentioned before, I've never really stuck to any specific genre. There's mixed ones. But if you insist on selecting one, I think I'll go for romance itself because I'm a big fan of romance movies, books, so definitely I'll end up writing the same. But with a pinch of tragic to it because why not? That's what I enjoy the most.
Who is your favorite poet, and which of their works have really inspired you?
Okay. Even when it comes to favorite poet, it was kind of recent, like after publishing my poetry book, actually. Because as I mentioned before, I was never really into writing poems or reading them. I wasn't at all like that. Novels, I used to read a lot. So, to give a favorite poet name, currently it's Rupi Kaur. As in, I got to read one of her poems through Instagram. And then, like, the first poem I read itself, it was about, self discovery sort of poem. And I felt like I could relate a lot with it because I'm not saying I write like her, but then somewhere something about her writing style, I could understand that well. And it resonated well with my sort of beliefs. So, while publishing the book, she wasn't my inspiration because I didn't know there was a poet like that. But right afterwards, one of her books called Milk and Honey, I even purchased it online because I was that much of a big fan of hers after
Wow.
going through on the Instagram page. Like, and most of her poems, they don't even have a title. Like, and her reason for is that she doesn't want to categorize it into anything. Just like how even I don't want to categorize my poems into anything. So I can relate a lot with this. So right now, my favorite poet is Rupi Kaur.
Digi, your poem has so much emotions with them, which is really inspiring. So, would you like to share something to the aspiring poets or writers?
Okay, one thing I want to say, just go for it seriously, because I would never be the person to show you that, because as I mentioned before, I was never into publishing poems or showcasing it to other people. But again, even that's fine. If you want to write for yourself and keep it personal, that's okay. But if you feel like writing a poem, don't check for rules. Don't think of all these poetic devices. I mean, that is important. If you want to, you can. But if not, just don't. Write whatever you feel like doing, because free verse is so much nice to write. I mean, compared to novels, there's not much rules at all. Whatever you feel at the moment, that's what you're supposed to write. Like, don't write because you're forced or anything. If you feel a certain emotion within you, just feel that first and try to bring it out through words. And as I mentioned before, just go for it.
Exactly, I completely agree with you.
I know, right? Because most people, I feel like nowadays, especially people of our age, are just backing out of everything, even if it's not just poetry, in most cases. But then the moment you try to write it down first, then slowly that flow will just come about.
How do you usually come up with a topic or concept for writing poetry? Is there a particular process, or you just randomly take out a pen and write it down?
Very random. Very random, to the point that it's funny, because most of the time I get inspiration when I'm sitting in class, when attending classes. I never listen in class. So
Really?
yeah. Like I don't go for a specific topic, or I don't search up for ideas online. I don't even keep a timeline. In most situations, I think even other poets or writers can actually relate with me, because we'll just randomly an idea will strike. We don't care about where we are sitting, so we'll just randomly write. And nowadays I post frequently on Instagram, because I'm never listening in class, and whenever sir is teaching, I'll be there at the back writing poetry.
But you are contributing something to the world too.
Yeah. That's the only thing that's making me feel better for not listening in class.
You recently recited poems at open mic. So could you let us tell like how was the experience?
Okay, it was first of all very nervous, very, because it was my first open mic. It was at TLC Art Cafe, and a friend of mine, he had suggested me going for this open mic, of which initially I was like, okay, should I go? Should I not? Because first of all, crowd, I'm very scared. I write poem as and I do post it, but then when it comes to crowd, is entirely different, because you have to recite it. You need to check into your pronunciation. But finally, several of my friends came and they said, "Did you just go for it? You've been wanting to do this for so long." And finally, I went there, and the atmosphere was really good. As in, the crowd there was very nice. That I felt comfortable. I was nervous, and that is genuinely seen in it. But then I'm happy I took that first step. As I mentioned before, you have to just go for it. It's very scary at the beginning, but finally, the result is very nice, because I had friends supporting me, I had strangers supporting me. Several other people texted me on Instagram saying it was a great achievement. And I've personally been wanting to do it, and I only backed out because of fear. So, how was my experience? It was exciting, I was nervous, but overall, very happy with it.
If you ever get a chance to speak to your younger self or future one, what would you like to share?
Wow, that was quite a deep question. Uh, okay, to my younger self, I think I want to say, Digi, keep going. It's completely fine. You feel like you're not going to reach anywhere, but trust me, trust the process, trust the people around you. You have a long way to go, and I'm very proud of you. Then to my older self, the same thing. Keep going, Digi. You have more to achieve. I know it's kind of difficult sometimes, but then the struggles are there for you to overcome them at some point. And keep going. You will make yourself proud one day.
Those words are really inspiring.
Yes, thank you.
Could you tell us what are your future plans related to writing?
As of now, I haven't planned on anything as in writing related. I will definitely, I'll keep writing. But do I want to continue with poetry itself, or should I try to expand more and go beyond that? I haven't really planned anything. Just like how I write poetry, I'll just randomly go for it. But if there's a dream that I would want to achieve, I've always had in mind that I want to travel to different cities, watch the people there, and write their stories through poems, and then post them, or maybe write a book about it. That's something I've always just randomly dreamed about. I don't know when that's going to happen, but if I can, I'll definitely do it.
Thank you, Digi, for coming and sharing your experience with us. I'm sure that our viewers enjoyed this and all the best for your future ventures.
Thank you.
Back to studio.
Thank you, Fairooz. That's all for this week's Campus Eye. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Until then, stay tuned.